I am in Harry's corner. We've just had the Grimm event this weekend, which has been absolutely fantastic, the second one, so of course there's now going to be many more, he says with mad confidence. And you'll hear there's a little bit of laughter in the background. That's because as part of the Grimm event we thought, well, with the next book coming out, which is Blood Fountain, it's set at the Fountain, which is, you know, Harry's local, and I'm sitting in Harry's chair, that we do a little bit of a sort of a live sort of event here, and then that'll be great for the book launch. So to prove that we do have people here, I'd like to introduce you to some of the fans. Behold the greatness! It's so strange. So strange. But isn't it brilliant? So these are just some of the fans. We've got everyone here, and yeah, so I'm going to read a bit and all that kind of thing. So thank you everyone for turning up. Thank you. Right, so Blood Fountain. This all stemmed from a conversation with Mandy. Now, if I go back to one of the other books, which was Death's Requiem, that was dedicated to Aled Jones, who's a friend of mine, and he did say, he said, could you kill me in one of your books? So I did. So I dedicated that book entirely to him. And if you read the dedication, it says, to Aled, you asked for it. And he is the victim. So it's not, I don't actually name him as the victim, but the victim is entirely based on Aled. Now Mandy foolishly said, could you murder someone here? Could you set one of your books here? So I went, okay. So obviously we came up with the title Blood Fountain. It just works really, really well as a nice sort of crime, sort of dark thing to do. So here we are. In the actual place where it happens. The first body is found on the Coits pitch, which is out the back of the pub, and I'll be putting some photos together as that as well, because we've got
Here we're going again now.
We're going again. I'll edit it together if it goes on.
I think your battery might be just...
No, the battery's fine. This is professional, isn't it? Are you enjoying this? I am.
On-off buttons are brilliant.
Yeah, you're an on-off. But anyway, we'll do a cover reveal. This is the cover for Blood Fountain. There you go. There we go, everyone. They're very well trained, aren't they? So there we go. I think this is Aysgarth Falls actually, which is really cool. But yeah, I think it's a fantastic, really great cover. Really chuffed with that. And the great thing we did with this, because it's the second Harry Grimm event. We had the beer last year, which was Grimm in Hawes, and we did this one this year from the Wensdale Brewery. There we go, Blood Fountain beer, which was fantastic. We've got a few left, haven't we? There we go. There we go. But it's a really, really lovely beer. So we had a guest beer done specifically for the event, which was fantastic. So yeah, well chuffed with that. Well, that's that. Now, as I always do, I have an extract to read. So it's a bit like Jack and Ori. Are we all sitting comfortably? Are we all sitting comfortably?
Yes!
Is that brilliant? Horrifying memories of my teacher training. I was terrible at that. On that, I do remember I did one of my most notorious lessons, which the person behind the camera will remember. I stood up and I had to teach maths, and I was teaching fractions, and I knew I had to do something with pies, fractions, pies, fractions. That's how I'll do this. And I stood up and I drew half a pie. And then I drew another pie and I took the half and I turned that into quarters, and I turned to the class and said, look, half equals 2 quarters. Get on with your work. Just stop it all the time.
It's gone off at the back.
I think it's still recording. I think it's still recording. That's what it is.
I just can't
it
see.
Is still, yeah,
so I don't know whether I'm actually pointing the camera at you.
I'm going to leave all of this in. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to read, this is the end of, it's the last 1,000 words from chapter 3. So the first 2 chapters are something else that's happening in the area. And then this is where Mandy has been out for a walk with the dogs. She's come back to the pub, and there's a delivery out the back. And so we will go from that. So she's gone out to the delivery person, Larry. And here we go. So, as I said, we're all sitting comfortably. I am in a it's such a good chair.
Yeah.
Harry's done well, hasn't he? Very, very good. Okay. Larry handed over a sheet of paper. "Van's out the back," he said. "Your folk in the kitchen, okay to come out and collect it all?" "Well, I'll come and give a hand as well," Mandy said. "By which I mean I'll stand well back and order them about a bit." Very sensible, always. Mandy led Larry through into the function room, quickly dipping into the kitchen to ask for some help, before heading out of the back door and into the car park. "Looks like you had quite the time of it and I left last night, though," Larry said as they approached his van. It was taking up a good amount of the car park, pulled up bumper close to a car belonging to a visitor who had booked a room at the pub for the weekend. Mandy was always impressed how he managed to squeeze the vehicle in without so much as a scratch. "Does it look like that at all?" asked Mandy, wondering what she'd missed back at the pub during the tidy-up the night before the delivery man would notice. There'd certainly been no trouble at the party, which was no surprise really, considering whose it had been. "Can't think it was any different to normal." Larry opened the side door of his van, and as he reached inside to drag forward his delivery, he said, "You'll not be leaving him there all day though, will you? He'll catch his death." Mandy didn't quite hear what Larry had said at first, but when the words eventually became clear in her mind, the question confused her. "How do you mean?" she asked. "Leave whom where exactly?" One of the chefs arrived to carry the boxes from the van. Larry pointed in the general direction of the fields out the back of the pub. "The bloke fast asleep down there," he said. "Saw him when I parked up." Worry stabbed at Mandy's mind like forked lightning. She was damned sure that no one at the party had been that drunk, and even if they had been, she had sent them home anyway before things got out of hand. And as far as she was aware, the same had been the case in the bar that night, with a handful of locals and a good number of walkers, just enjoying an evening of talking and sinking a pint or three of the good stuff. There'd been a couple of incidents, as there usually were. Someone complaining about the food, a tourist jokingly taking someone's hat or cap or something, and there had been no rowdiness, no drunks being hoofed out the door, no punches thrown. A normal Saturday night really, and that was it. Leaving Larry and the chef to deal with what needed carrying back up to the pub, Mandy walked round the back of the van to then make her way to the edge of the car park to look down into the fields. And there, on a small patch of grass below her, the pub's very own quoits pitch, she saw a figure. She'd never played the game herself, which involved throwing a metal ring about the size of a dinner plate towards a metal stake stuck in the centre of a square of clay, but knew that it had a long tradition in the Dales. She'd never quite understood it herself, but folk enjoyed it, and that was enough reason for her to support it. The cost of rings had shocked her, but she bought a set for the pub anyway, because again it wasn't just a business, but a place of deep importance to the community. The pub had its own team, not just for quoits either, but darts as well, with leagues for both running up and down the dale throughout the year. More than a little irritated that someone had got themselves so blotto that their own bed had seemed difficult to find, Mandy made her way down to the pitch to give whoever it was a boot up the arse and a firm talking to. You can see it happening, can't you? She was also rather concerned. Sleeping outside on a cold patch of grass wasn't just foolish, it was dangerous. A chilly Dale's night could easily kill. From back up at the car park, she heard Larry reversing his van back out. "Right then," Mandy said, coming up to the unconscious figure lying face down on the pitch. She could now see that it was a man and that he was wearing walking gear. Boots, specialist trousers, waterproof, the hood pulled up. "Whoever you are, I think it would be best if you..." Her voice caught in her throat. Something about this wasn't right, she thought. And though she had no idea what, the scene before her sent a chill through her so sharp that she shuddered. "Come on now," she said, edging closer, telling herself to stop being so daft. "You can't be lying here all morning, can you? You'll catch your death." The man didn't move. Mandy poked him in the thigh with her toes. "Stop messing around now," she said, doing her best to make her voice sound both annoyed and light enough to imply she was able to see the funny side of what could happen after a few too many. "Let's have you gone. You're making the place look untidy." She went in again with her toe, this time giving the man a hefty shove. He moved, or at least some of him did. The shove harder than Mandy had wanted it to be. At first, she was unable to take in what she was seeing, and simply stood there as the man's hood seemed to give birth to something. Her first thought was that it was a football, because it absolutely couldn't be anything else, could it? But then, what would he be doing with a football under his hood? And where would it go anyway? Because there was no way there would be room for it in there with his... The thing from inside the hood came to a stop a couple of feet away, stared up at Mandy with the deadest eyes she had ever seen, and she screamed. So yeah, never ask an author if they'll kill you in a book or set a murder in your pub. But yeah, so that's the extracts. That's the Mandy discovering the body out on the Coits pitch, which you can after this go and see. I'll take photos so you can see it as well, and I've done a little video of it. It's quite a gory death, that one, and there are more gory deaths to follow that one in the story. It's a bit of fun, quite enjoying it. It's a bit weird, isn't it? Enjoying killing people in a book, but hey. So, as a celebration, really, a little sort of fun thing. So we had a meeting 2-3 months ago, I think, and with myself, Mandy, and Marty who's behind the camera, and we just got joking about the whole cheese and cake thing. And for some reason, we're not sure who came up with it. We said, but it's because the chippy in Hawes does battered cheese. So you can go in there, have your chips with a nice lump of Wensleydale cheese in batter, which I have tried, and it's certainly something I have eaten. And I think because of that, and because of the cheese and cake thing, one of us suggested, or we all did at the same time, that we should do battered cheese and cake balls. We thought that was hilarious. I then mentioned it in a special story that I read out, that Aubrey read out last night for the event. And then this morning after we came in, so it was 9:30, we had massive breakfast anyway, and Kim, Mandy's daughter, comes through and goes, how about some battered cheese and cake balls? Which is not what you really want early morning after a massive fry-up. But here we are. Now, I have actually already tried one, so I know what they're like. But here we go. Check in the crispy, wondrous joy. This is going to go on the menu. We haven't yet decided what they're going to be called, but they are basically going to be Harry Grimm's battered cheese and cake balls. And they're going to be world famous. Absolutely world. Well, they're going to be, aren't they? Yes. They are fantastic. So everyone in here is going to have to order these ASAP. But I'm going to. This bloody lovely. It's so wrong. But it's absolutely delicious. It is fantastic, honestly. That is amazing. That needs ice cream. Great with a pint. That needs a pint. I know it's only 10 o'clock. Andy? So there you go.
Yeah.
So there you go. Blood Fountain, coming out now. I really hope you like it. It's set at the fountain, which has been integral to the Harry Grimm books. You know, it's where he drinks. This is Harry Grimm's corner. We've got bat cheesecake balls, which will be appearing in Blood Fountain. So yeah, hope you've enjoyed that. I hope you enjoyed the next book. And thanks for the continued love and support for Harry Grimm. Brilliant. And thanks everyone for being here. Yay! Was that the pint? Yeah. You asked for it.
It's a slippery slope.